Hiya, so we're going to do a requested flick through of the Ludy Lescot Tarot. This is a low Scarabeo deck. This deck is actually out of print. You can still get it. I would really look into the places that you're buying it from and make sure that you're getting it through a proper site or something like that if you can get hold of it. It's going to be above the standard cost of a deck because it's out of print and hard to get hold of. And you can get copies of this deck. You'll be paying, I'm going to be honest, you'll be paying close to the amount that you'd be paying for the out of print genuine deck anyway, so you might as well just hold out and just keep searching until you find a copy if this is one that interests you. Now this is a very strange little deck. I will say that it's a very strange little deck. It's an unusual, with it being low Scarabeo, we all know their guidebooks are absolutely nuts. This one is absolutely no different, and the fact that it's a bizarre deck anyway, because it's a kind of shadowy deck and because it's a kind of gothic-y darker themed deck, it's bizarre anyway, so the stories that go with it are a bit odd anyway in regards to tarot, and just the fact that it's low Scarabeo just increases the strangeness of it. I will read probably a couple out as we go, just so you can get an idea of just where this deck goes. This deck to me is very much a look at the cards and say what you see. Just look at the images and read the images, because you can try to put in the standard meaning for the tarot. If you know the standard meaning, you can do that with any card. You can throw the standard meaning of a tarot onto the cards, if that's how you so choose to work with it. However, you will find that it feels a bit jarring with this deck, and it's purely because it is so different. So we'll get a look at it. So you do want to look for a genuine deck, I would say, purely because you may think you're going to be saving some money by getting a copy, and I assure you you're not. I've seen copies for sale for like £60 of this, and they are copies. They're not genuine decks, and you could probably find and pick up a genuine deck for £50 to £60 of this. So that's the back of the cards there. It comes in a standard tuck box. It has a little white book with it, with all the languages. So this is a very gothic themed deck. It's a very interesting deck. I absolutely love this deck. This is probably one of the first gothic themed decks that I actually got, and I do love it. So let's zoom us in a bit. We'll just have a nice steady flick through the cards so you can have a look at them. As I say, you will be able to find this deck somewhere. Out a little bit. Oops. That will do. Let's see if it tells you when it was. So November, New Orleans, November 2010. So this deck is based on this, it's got like a little bit of a story to it. My name is Ludy, and the publisher asked me to write something about myself and about this deck. This deck, my first deck of tarot was given to me by my grandmother Rose on the day of my 7th birthday, and is get it out. And is a unique piece that I am very fond of, drawn especially for her by a certain Adams, a friend of Pamela Coleman Smith, who, for those who don't know her, is the artist who drew the Rider-Waite deck. I believe Adams was originally from New Jersey, but had lived in a certain amount of time in Jamaica. He worked above all in advertising, but also loved symbolist painting. So it gives you a bit of a rundown about like why she came to do the deck. The figures came to mind, her profound roots in the pain that had hurt me so deeply. For me, it was extremely difficult to succeed in creating the cards exactly as I had imagined them. So it says that she took years to sketch them. Reading tarot, for those of you who learn the art of tarot, I advise a preliminary study of 3 fundamental concepts. The first regards to the theory of correspondence, symbolic or real, visual or invisible, among all the components of the universe. The second concerns the idea of living nature, because if there are correspondences throughout the universe, there is possibility of a universal soul that causes the phenomena. The third concept is the presence of mediation between the upper worlds and the lower worlds, ensured by the imagination. Actually, one must take into account the possibility of decoding through our imagination the symbols that express the correspondences of the universe. And then you go into the cards then. So this is the Fool, and you see like it's quite different. You can see straight off the bat it's very different. So you've got this little character here. I don't know whether this is a smaller person. It looks like a child, but it doesn't look like a child at the same time. It's the very evocative kind of images. But they've got this cock that's tied by the leg to their pants, and they're blowing their horn, and it's bringing in all these rats. So the tune is bringing in the rats from round around. So, you know, it's like, where is this car going? I do like that you get a little flower here, though, still, even though it's all really bleak and dark and, like, kind of thingy, you still get, like, a hint of little flowers and growth that are coming there. Every time I do it, stop. Stop. So I've got our Magician. Boris, stop. So you still get all the symbols going about. It's very gothic, it's very vampiric as well. So you'll see like these wanton women around about that pop up through the deck. High Priestess. The Empress. The Emperor. It's interesting in this deck as well that the Emperor does have actually some greenage going on around him and some foliage, whereas the Empress is very set in stone, which is what we usually see of the Emperor. But the Hierophant. Lovers. The Chariot. I'll read this one to you as well, because it's very, when you read the guidebook, you know, if you were going off it, I'd try to read it as like standard tarot, it'd really mess your head up. If you were looking to this to get some kind of a heads up. So the Chariot. Where I've passed, I have left a trail of fragrant roses. Even when I am far away, my perfume will remain in the air to remind you that I exist. And that's the write up for the Chariot. Ooh, I've got Strength. Hermit. The Wheel. Justice. So Justice, the world is unjust. Do you know how to be just? And then the rest of the world can even be mud. That is the route for that one. So like I say, this is going to be a deck where you're just going to have to sit. I find you just sit, you look at the images, feel the energy of the cards. It does lean more towards the shadow. Not necessarily though, not on all of them, but on a fair few. Right, Boris. Oh, this dog. So in the Hangman, we can see that, are they getting let down? Are they getting tied up? Are they surrendering to something? Are they handing over the power? Are they giving to something? Or are they being set free? You know, you could read it either or, really. This dog insists on making pure noise behind me every time. Right, Boris? Boris? Dotty? Dotty? I'm not going to keep telling you. No? You're being naughty. Death. Temperance. The Devil. The Tower. So I like this tower, and the reason why I like this tower because it looks like she's quite willingly kind of letting herself fall. She's not even throwing herself, is she really? She's just allowing herself to fall gracefully. This one looks like he's literally leaped out, losing his crown. Don't matter though, sometimes we have to lose things. We have to be willing to lose things. Star. I love this star card. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, it's a little frog thing down here. And when I first got this deck, I kept having, I'm on a first floor flat, and every other day I'd be walking around the flat and finding a frog, like leaping around the flat. So it turns out, about a year later, I found out the frogs weren't just making their way into my flat. My cat was actually bringing the frogs in. But I'd be just like happily walking about, and then next thing I'd have a frog diving at me. And I remember this car kept coming up a lot. And frogs are said to be good luck, aren't they? Bring fortune. The Moon. The Sun. And on some of the cards, not all of them, but some of them, you will see nods to the Rider-Waite or to other decks of cards within the card. I don't know if we've passed one yet. I'll point it out if I notice it though. Got Judgment. And the World. The Ace of Cups. Two. Three. Four. 5. Six. Creepy clown. 7. Love this one. I don't know if you can see there that she's leaning against this mirror. And in the mirror she's just a skeleton. 8. 9. Quite fulfilled. Has he done some kind of ritual there? Got that body laying in the background. 10. I love this 10 as well. 8. Knight. Queen. Just where you can see they've got a another face in the mirror. And the king. Ace of Pentacles or coins. 2. 3. So there you get a nod. There's one where you get like the nod to the Rider-Waite. Is quite literally painting the image of the Rider-Waite. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. I had this deck for nearly a year before I actually realised she's got 2 different colour shoes on there. 10. 8. 9. Queen. probably my least favourite card of the deck. Ace of Wands. So you do get little nods on things, like you get like the salamander, and you do get nods to things as well through things that they're wearing. Like they've all had, where's the ace? So she's got a gold mask on there. I've not done any more of her. There she's got one that's got kind of fishes on it. So you get like nods to, so you can figure out which one you're actually looking at. I mean, you know from the top anyway, but we've got the 2. Three. Love her boots. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Page. 'Knight. 'Queen. She's stuck out with a sunflower and a feline type animal. And the King. And you get the nod to Leo there. You also got a salamander on his shoulder and the flames everywhere. So you've into the swords now. So she's got a mask on that is got feathers on it, and it's like a butterfly with feathers on it. So to remind you that it's swords, we've got the 2. 3. This card could be a bit triggering for some people. In fact, let's read that one. I'd say it's probably the most triggering in the whole deck, to be honest. But 3 swords. Evil has no limits, but no matter how deep the pain is, remember that it is never only your fault, otherwise it would destroy you. About self-blame. The 4. And the 5. 6. 7. And then you get a nod to the Rider-Waite in the back then, the stained glass window in the back. 8. on a 10. Page. Knight. The Queen. And the King. And again, that's the backs there. So I do love this deck, but it is a visually deck. It is one that you would read visually. Show you what it looks like with a few cards, how it shuffles really nice. Is it? I mean, it's typical of Scarabeo. Cardstock, nothing fancy. Just want to get a couple of cards out so you can see what they look like together. Not mixed very well, but just to give you an idea of what they look like. And it hasn't got all the multiple languages on the decks, which they usually do for Low Scarabeo. They went with the symbols and the numbers and the Roman numerals for the majors. And it glides fantastic, as all do. I mean, this has took a bit of a battering off me, so it is a bit chipped up, my copy. Not there, expect nothing left, to be honest, when it's been beat up so badly. So that has been a look at the Ludy Lescot Tarot by Lo Scarabeo.